The secret of riding an electric bike is battery conservation. You have to know when to save battery. I rented this bike to a friend of mine, and he got stuck in the middle of nowhere. 3 reasons. So he blew up the motor and the controller, and that sucked. He got a flat tire, and even if he would have not done any of that, he was 3.8 miles away, and when he came home, I had to charge the battery for 550 watts out of the 700 that the battery has. So he would have been past the half point anyway. It would have been a hike for him regardless. But it happened that he used too much energy, and then obviously the motor melted and the controller melted, and then he got a flat on top of it, so he couldn't even ride it home, you know. And that sucked for him. It was also on his birthday, so this is gonna be a birthday he's gonna remember. Pushing this thing with a flat tire for 3.8 miles through a sandy wash or sandy trails, trust me, it's no fun. So I always carry a pump and patches, and he just didn't know that I had them on the bike. And I don't think that he even knew how to patch a tire really. But yeah, that was an eye-opening experience for him and for me, and that's the day I decided that just can't happen to me. So I'm gonna take more stops, check on the temperatures on the motor, enjoy nature, you know, enjoy this place, but at the same time make sure that I make it home. And that's one of the reasons I upgraded the controller to a different controller, and I wish I could have plugged it into the old HIMIWAY screen, but I couldn't. So I had to buy the controller with a onboard screen also, which is color screen. It's nice, but it's not like super nice, you know, like it's okay. So yeah, battery conservation is important, and that's the moral of the story, is you gotta know how much to use. You know, right now I can make it really easy and not pedal at all. Put it on power assist 5, just twist the throttle and go. The only problem is that when you do that, you're using not only a lot of battery, so you're not gonna go far, also you're not getting exercise, and then you melt the motor and the controller. And then what? Yeah, I know there are some doubters out there who will say, well, HIMIWAY should have built it so it doesn't burn. Well, you know what? They didn't really build this bike. They bought the motor from Bafang or Tosheng or one of those Chinese companies. So there is that. So there is no product research as far as that goes. They just stitched it together like a Frankenstein and made a bike out of it, like you would do in your garage if you'd ordered a fat bike and a electric motor. And then what they did is they didn't go cheap on the battery. They put a massive battery on it, 48 volt. That's a lot of volts going through a tiny motor in the back that doesn't have any fins for cooling. So one thing led to another, and you have a bike that is great in the park and it's gonna work really, really nice. But if you start climbing San Francisco hills, like really long ones, and you're not careful in battery management, heat management, then you're gonna have a very, very bad experience, because guaranteed something is gonna melt, and then you're gonna have very, very big problems. So as soon as this downhill is done, here in the shade, I'm gonna check my temperatures. I'm here in the nature to enjoy, might as well stop. This one, very warm to the touch, but it's barely warm to the touch. Now this one is barely warm to the touch too, but remember, the heat travels from the inside out. So this motor is actually a lot hotter inside than it's on the outside. So you gotta be careful not to underestimate it, because even if you stop and you sit, that radiant heat from the core is gonna go higher and higher and higher. So those are definitely things you want to keep under consideration. Definitely. Also tire pressure, you know, a lot of people don't even own a pump. They buy a bicycle and they think that it's gonna last forever. It's riding on a street, you need 30 psi. So you save the tires, you save the wear and tear, the motor and all that stuff, because it will go a lot further. So if you go in the park and you go anywhere under 30 psi, you're wasting motor, you're wasting battery, you're wasting a lot of things. But then here, at 30 psi, you have no grip. So I'm running 10. So the tire molds and bites. But that uses more power, more energy. So these are all things that you have to be very careful of, you know. And yeah, it's riding an electric bike is something that you learn in time. It's not you gotta feel it. When I get this controller on the bike, because I was used to the HIMIWAY controller, it felt weird. It didn't feel right. I had such a hard time getting used to it. It felt like it was not doing the same things as the HIMIWAY does. But then I realized that now it does more. Like the power delivery is just so nice and crisp. All those 35 amps, they go in. They don't linger. So you use a throttle, it really, you can feel the power. It really goes. But then you're using more. So all these things you need to compensate for and make sure that you understand how an electric bike works. But the fat tires on this bike is my favorite part. I don't think I will ever buy a different bike. I really enjoy these fat tires. They're expensive to replace. It's like $70 a pop. But they're like really nice tires. I really enjoy the big tires on this bike instead of the little tiny ones on the mountain bikes. I don't buy it for performance, I buy it for fun. So here I am. Well, thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you out. And understanding, if you don't have a fat tire bike, how an electric bike works. Thanks for watching.